Welcome to the Power Hour. Marissa and I look forward every week to being on this call with all of our growth leaders, with you guys, basically to help you guys grow, right? So today we've got an action-packed agenda. Marissa's going to go first to share with all of you what we have been doing and will continue to do in terms of best practices to welcome new agents to our organization up to 7 tiers. She'll go first. Then I'd like to get into asking all of you to share your best practices about what you're doing outside of this Power Hour call to build your revenue share organization. And I know, April, I know you hold your weekly meeting as well. Maybe you can talk a little bit about what the purpose of that meeting is. Patrick Manning, I know you do AHA, helping agents on a weekly basis. Maybe you can talk a little bit about that, just so the rest of us can think about what else can we be doing to support our organization. Ken Picas, love to hear from you as well. I know that you guys do a lot. Garrick Yen, I know you do stuff as well. So just keep it brief, but at least this is a brainstorming session for all of us to garnish good information for one another, and also to learn, hey, I tried this. You might want to try it this way instead, because best practices, okay? And then we've got Russ Laggan coming on the second half of the hour to cover all the latest agent attraction tools, the arsenal, the money that we are giving out to people to join the organization. So Russ will talk about that, about the successes, and give us best practices on what we can do as leaders to attract more, to build more. And we have the entire force of the company behind us to do so. And that would wrap up today's call. Marissa, let's start with you.
Okay, well, so before I jump into what we've been doing for our agents that are joining, I first wanted to give you guys the stats on the contest that Tom had been running. I believe, Tom, if I'm not mistaken, that next week is the last week. Is that correct?
Next week is the last week. We got $2,000 to give out, to dish out. Yep.
Okay, so for the folks that have never joined this call before, to recap it, at the very beginning of the intentions of these Power Hour calls, Tom announced a contest, and it went like this. For the agents who personally sponsor, meaning tier one, the most personally, they would be the winner of that one component, which is $1,000 prize. Correct, Tom?
Yep.
Okay, and then the next component is the number of total agent count percentage growth within each individual organization. The top also gets $1,000. Is that correct, Tom?
Yep. And that $1,000 will go towards that leader's organization to pay that leader can choose to split up as they wish to invite agents to register for the EXP convention for our EXP con in Miami. We're going to have probably over 30 regional rallies that come up probably in March is going to be my best guess. And if those regional rallies are $40 a ticket, man, that leader is now able to buy 25 tickets for their agents to go to regional rallies, things like that.
So that being said, right now, the top agents who personally sponsored, meaning tier one agents within Team Truong since the beginning of the competition, in first place is Dan Perrett with 8 personally sponsored agents. In second place, who actually moved up, is Daniel Eng with 7 personally sponsored agents. And number 3 is Jim Huang with 5 personally sponsored agents. Okay, so for the personally sponsored agents, Daniel Eng added 1 and is now in second. For the total group percentage, first still is Christian Albert, 100% from 3 agents to 6%. Patrick Manning has moved up from 17 agents to 27%. That's 58.82% growth, which is incredible. Isaac Landau is at 50% from 6 to 9 agents, and Rodrigo added to his agent count as well. He's in 4th place. He's an honorable mention at 37.5% from 8 to 11 agents. So the recap of the group growth, that Patrick Manning is now in second. And I know he's on this call, so kudos to Patrick. And Rod, one more agent in his total group, meaning that he's actually now in the top 4. He hadn't done that before.
Yes, Scott Bascom, that is huge. Let's hear from Pat Manning. You're on the call. How hard was it? It was just a walk in the park. It was cake for you.
Well, because it's percentage, I love to take the credit, but the credit goes to the team. It's the old adage of, recruit many to find the few that will recruit the masses, as we've said before. So it's just I have a couple good folks and we that are very in sponsoring people and talking to people and educating people, and that's it. We just keep hammering to the whole team. You don't have to do this, but sometimes agents are going to fall in your lap because they're going to say, you look like you're so happy. What are you doing? How are you doing it? What's this EXP thing? Be prepared and ready to go to do your then your speech to the, give your elevator speech to them, and then take it and move it to a three-way call, and I'll do the presentation, and then we'll introduce them to Tom and Kenny, so on and so forth. So that's all we do, is just keep them educated that they can do this, and they have a support team around them to move the person around the bases. Just get them first base with the talk, second base, meet with us. That's it.
Awesome. Well, congratulations, Patrick. I love
Thank
it.
you.
I love it. One more week left. I dream of this. One of you just might be working on somebody who has 10 agents in the organization, a team of 10, or a brokerage of 50. Just that one person who enrolls could put you from zero to hero in 1 week, right? It's entirely possible. So that's from a percentage standpoint, it's out there. All right, Marissa, keep moving with what are we doing for new agents and welcoming them? Our best practices that our organization can try to duplicate.
Okay, so this was something, you guys know, Tom and I, we work together, we live together, we are together. And I was telling him this morning some of the things that I had just instituted like this month, basically. And he kind of thought it was cool and I should share it. So I don't know if you guys know this, but at the end of the 30-day mark, we have the ability to see in the app my.exp Realty all the agents that joined your specific organization within the 30-day time frame. And what we've been doing is taking that list and sending out specific information, emailing it to those agents within the 30-day mark, specifically things like, welcome, we're excited to see you. By the way, this is when your state orientation is, so it's specific to the state. We specify realty versus commercial, when their orientation is, when their state meetings are, when their sky slope training is. And prior to that going out, we also give them the ability to know that we have that Zoom line that's open for them for Q&A whenever they have questions. People actually used it a lot this week. But I took it one step further because we've been doing that consistently, but not everybody checks their email.
Marissa, pause 1 second. Hold your thought. Does everyone know where to look for who joined your organization over the past rolling 30 days? Who does not know? If you don't know, raise your hand. So everyone knows where to look. Awesome. Keep going, Marissa.
Okay.
Stop at Zoom link.
Thank you.
Zoom link.
Alan,
Thank you,
I
Alan.
appreciate that. So besides that Zoom link that's in that welcome new orientation email, what I did this week was I actually sent a text message to every agent that joined over the first 30 days and said to them, hey, this is Marissa. We haven't met, because most of the time I haven't met the people that are on like level 6 and level 7. I just wanted to welcome you to EXP and to Team Truong. Over the next day or two, you're going to get an email from me that's going to give you information about your specific state, meetings and when your is. But this is my personal cell phone. So please feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. Just welcoming them personally. I use an actual, and I know I've talked about this in previous power hours. I use specifically an app Reach to do that. Super simple. You take the my.exp Realty app, download your 30-day agents that you joined over the first 30 days. You set up the CSV file with their first name, last name, and their their telephone numbers, and then you can upload that right into the app for Reach, and then create one message that's personalized, like, hey, Alan, this is Marissa. So excited that you just joined. You're going to be getting an email from me in the next couple of days, but in the meantime, this is my cell phone number. Welcome to the team. Please reach out if I can do anything for you.
This is the app for those who don't know. It works both on Android and in Apple Reach. It is amazing. Okay.
Yeah. So when we were doing the promotion for the regional rallies, I used it again to just for everybody within the organization that these are, events for agents, by agents, just to increase the stickiness of people, right? People leave because they don't feel like they belong somewhere. So we're doing everything we possibly can to make sure that people that join EXP feel welcome, feel supported, so that they don't leave. And so this is all about retention as far as all the systems and processes we're putting in place.
Thank you, Marissa. So here's the deal. Yes, Ken Pika says, I think it's important for the sponsors to know that and explain who Team Truong is. Thank you, Ken. I'm speaking with Alan Nanny and Craig Caggiano. We have access to just 7 tiers, right? In my rev share, I only have 7 tiers. Craig Caggiano, you are in my 7th tier. Chris Caggiano, who's entering the room, your brother, is my 6th level. Alan Nanny, you're in my tier 5. In other words, Craig, every agent that you sponsor will never hear from me or Marissa. We don't have the data to get to you, every one that you personally sponsor.
Okay.
Alan, your personals and your tier 2 will hear from us. But if you have agents from tier 3 and on, guess what? They have no idea who we are. Okay. Everyone else on the call, think about that. For 3 years, I relied on Scott Lewis to manage everything because I said, hey, if Scott's doing it, I don't want to replicate what Scott's doing and just spam my team with additional noise. Got it?
Got it.
The bell went off. Wait a minute. I'm tier 2 to Scott, which means he only communicates to my level 5. And when you're at my level, my biggest paychecks come in from level 6 and 7, revenue share wise.
Thank you for that, Tom. I don't have that challenge yet, but it's just a matter of time. So thank you. Appreciate you.
All right. Every other leader here, you will build depth extremely quickly. Craig Caggiano is already recruiting people. Craig, they don't hear from me whatsoever.
Yeah. So think about it like this. Like, you guys remember that movie from the 80s, Field of Dreams? Build it and they will come. Think about the systems that you want to put in place before you have the business. That's how we build. That's how, one of the biggest visionaries on this call is Ken Pikas. And I think you you think about the bigger picture of things before you have the actual business. Am I right, Ken?
Yes, ma'am. I'm thinking, I have some ideas, but I wasn't thinking about just now, Tom. You just said about level. So we just add level. I'm level 40. We just added level 5. Ben is level 6, and Grayson is level 7, and we just added some to Grayson. So that person, as you were saying this, should not be hearing from you, and that was a triggering in my brain.
Yeah. And Ken, they won't know about the Power Hour call. They don't know about my Monday sales coaching and accountability call. They don't know about all the travel they do across the world, across the country to build when they can leverage, and they know nothing about it. They don't know about Agents Get Free, our website, our group. They have no idea. This applies to you, man, a lot. You've got massive people in your organization who Marissa and I don't reach out to, and they don't know who we are. Go ahead, Ken.
No, I'll just think that's it. My level 4 onward, which I'm just adding the first one, is so I got to pay attention. That's 4 levels that, and this is a good thing because those people are just joining, and I happen to know them, meaning that I've already introduced them, already engaged with them. But it's good to know that from the very beginning now. So thank you.
It took me 2 years to figure out. And guess what, guys? Throughout EXP, throughout 89,500 agents right now, guess where the largest attrition is happening and what levels?
6 and 7.
Yeah. Is there a correlation there? It's a massive correlation.
That's what you want, besides everything.
Okay, massive correlation. All right. Thank you, Marissa. So we're doing that. So when you get those emails from us, and for us, we have agents join over the past 30 days. So we're only reaching out to 31. Dick Lee probably has 10 new agents that join every week, maybe 15, right? Pat probably have 5 or 3 that join every 30 days. That's not a lot for them to hear from you. It's not all at all. Even at our size, it's not a lot for Marissa to reach out to 30 of them. And man, do they feel like, why, who are you? And then once the bell goes off, oh my goodness, not only is Ken supporting me and Rick Manalo is supporting me, but guess what? Marissa and Tom are supporting me too. And they feel part of the family.
Yeah, it was funny. I reached out to a level 7 and he's like, I'm sorry, who is this? I'm like, Marissa. And of course, I don't, you guys know me because we do this call every week, but he's like, who are you? And I'm like, Tom's wife. He goes, who's Tom? And so I sent him that picture, that he's going like this. He's like, yeah, I don't know him. I'm like, oh, sorry.
Right.
So funny. Sorry.
We're going to move on. All right. Next, I'd like to have Kenny Olson. Can you share a little bit about your weekly calls that you do with your team? When that is, how long it is for, and what do we do at that call?
Yeah, so at 7:15 on Thursday mornings, there's probably consistently 4 to 6 of us on the call. There's 10 to 12 that are on the thread, and we just talk about agent attraction, what we're doing to attract agents, successes, failures, just keeping front of mind. And I always encourage people, make text introductions, to that agent, that with permission, of course. I think text introduction is the best way to tie people together. And as far as this week, I thought Friday was exceptional. That regional rally was tremendous. And it was because the venue was great, the preparation that you all, our team, put into that. And then obviously having corporate be there, having Glenn Sanford show up, Jason Gessing show up, Amy Weaver. I can never pronounce, is it Frank Panuto? How do I pronounce it?
Panunto. There's an N there.
Yeah, Panunto. And then Brandon, who's in charge of, us getting paid, with this agent attraction component. So it was really good to see that mix. And then the brunch that you had at your home that you hosted on Saturday, it was when E.F. Hutton talks, people listen, right? And it started with maybe 3 or 4 of us that were talking to Glenn, and ultimately the whole house came together around Glenn just to listen to what he had to say, right? And what's going on in the market. He's the savant who came up with the model. He's the savant that keeps adding to the model and enriching the model. I thought it was already good enough, and it keeps getting better. And at the back half of this call, I'm excited for everyone to hang on, because there's 3 new components to this agent attraction piece that can really throw fuel. And it's EXP having a war chest and saying, you know what, we're going to build through, this, the realtor drop that's going to happen. So Glenn was ordering an Uber. This is the last thing I'll say. He was ordering Uber and he was going back to his hotel. And I said, I'll drive you to your hotel. And
you said, hey, Glenn, it's on my way. If you know Kenny lives here, is here, and Glenn is way up here.
I drove extra slow. I couldn't spend enough time immersing myself in. It was like Harvard University for EXP. And so I embraced it. The conversation was really, he's lived through markets. I've lived through markets. It's my career. And there was, I think at our peak, probably 1.6 million realtors. And we've been dropping. We might have dropped in the neighborhood of 300,000 to 400,000 people that aren't renewing, which for anyone that stays in the business, that's a good thing because there's less competition. And he felt like that number could really drop below 1 million into the 800,000 to 900,000 range. It's just one person's opinion, but it's a pretty strong opinion. And that was 2008, 2009 levels for realtor before it's growing again. And we were talking about how much the market could dip. And he felt like the Fed would step in before the market tanked. I personally think these interest rates, if they go to 5, this market, it goes on fire across the country, because now people are looking at 7 and 8 and thinking, wow, 5's an unbelievable rate. It's all perspective. So it was just a good opportunity to, spend quality time with someone that has a lot of insight in where the market is headed and how much he believes in the EXP stock. I'm not saying go out and buy it, but it's unbelievable value right now. I would just take advantage of the 5 ways that you can earn it. And if you decide, hey, I want to go buy it on the open market, go for it. I'm not encouraging or discouraging, but he's about as bullish as you could get on the direction of this company.
Tom,
Thank you, Kenny.
Tom, I just want to offer, if you can bring Glenn to Southern Pines, I'll host brunch for you guys.
I think Ken would do that as well.
Yeah. So it just goes to show you the influence that Marissa and Tom have, because for Glenn to show up and spend 2 full days, and then he was hanging out with us on Friday evening, and then he showed up Saturday for brunch. So we got main lines, Glenn Sanford, was terrific. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Kenny. Pat Manning, you do something that I love. Your agents helping meetings. Can you share?
Sure. So we call these meetings aha meetings. Obviously from the idea that if we educate people, they'll go, I should be with EXP. And they were quite successful. They're like the model explained, or whatever, what do you folks call it in real life?
Yeah, in real life. Yeah.
Other than trying to have a weekly meeting where you can invite people and the presentation will be done no matter what. We took a 6-week break. I had some issues I had to deal with, and though other people throw in and give their testimony, they do testimonials there at the I'm usually the one that's doing the presentation. I'd like to change that up and get people off their training wheels, but we're going to go back to it weekly. Tom needled me about it in a very good way, getting back on the bike again. A lot of people, what I found was not a lot of people come. Maybe sometimes we just have 1 or 2 people tops, but if we do it consistently, someone will be able to invite to it, and then that person will say, I can't make that time, but I have Wednesday evenings free if it ever happens. And then we just do a private presentation for them. So we never just say, you come on Tuesday, or you just don't, you don't get the attention. We use it as a catalyst. We'll do more presentations outside the AHA than doing the AHA, but the AHA is just a way to be able to promote on Facebook, on Instagram, and to fellow agents to be able to invite to it to get discussions going.
Thank you, Patrick. Guys, success leaves clues. Success always leaves clues. What do I mean by that? For the half of you who joined in late, Marissa announced the contest that's going on. The biggest builder right now, the fastest builder in terms of frontline agents is guess what? Because he's not on this call, from 10:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. East Coast time every week, he has his team meeting. And guess who's on that team meeting right now? Russ Laggan. I just found out from Marissa yesterday that, hey, wow, Daniel does his calls once a week for his team, and there's no surprise why he's number 1 in growth right now in this little organization. Patrick Manning is number 2. Success leaves clues. He does his weekly meetings. That's why his growth is there, right? That's what I'm trying to show. So, when I started, I asked, our leaders, Tracy, Scott, Rob, Gene Frederick, what do I need to do? And they says, Tom, weekly meetings. Weekly meetings. There's nothing else than weekly meetings. It started off in Massachusetts and Boston, and then soon enough, it basically went on Zoom because my organization grew everywhere. So I had to do it on Zoom. There was a point in time where half of the people at that meeting were in a physical office, and the other half were remotely. Daniel Ang does that tremendously well, and there's a reason why Daniel's Ang organization is growing very fast, right? Daniel's approaching 250 agents in his organization at a rapid pace because every one of his meetings he has in real life, basically out of his office, Dallas, but then he has cameras everywhere so his entire organization can dial in and feel as best as they can as part of the family, as part of being in Dallas. And Daniel does, I think, more than 1 meeting a week for his organization. Okay. So hopefully you guys learned a little bit about that. let's cover some agent attraction tools. Okay. On my email there, on my name on Zoom, you guys see agentsgetfree.com. If you haven't done so already, I implore you as growth leaders to log in there and go to the agent attraction section. Inside the agent attraction of agentsgetfree.com, you will find scripts, you will find videos, you will find the wealth chart, you will find a lot of things. And maybe you know it, but here's the question for yourselves. If you have recruited that first person in your organization is just 2, does that second person in your organization know about all these resources? If you have 5, do all 5 of them know about all the resources? Unless you're doing something on your own, go for it. I'd love nothing more than for you to duplicate, but everything we've built that we work so hard, right, with Sam on the call here and our other executive assistants, is to make sure that everything we do is replicatable, duplicatable, that it's in scale. So if you don't want to do it, you can just make sure you plug everybody in. The challenge is, ask yourselves, if you have an organization of 200, do 199 of them know about these resources? If they don't, then you should build it for yourself. So they know, so they know where to find it. Comments, questions? Okay, guys, if you don't do it, if you're not communicating, you're the leaders, right? Starting last week, we opened this up for everybody, right? And when I show the program, I say, hey, 1 out of 20 will take agent attraction seriously. So in my mind, 1 out of 20, if we have an organization of 1,200 agents, actually 17 agents, because our organization has about 500 below tier 7, right? So basically 5%. There should be 85 agents right now on this call, and there's only 20. What that tells me is there's 60 other XP agents in Marissa and my revenue share organization who don't know about this call.
Yay, Russ is here.
Yes. All right. Thank you, Russ. Thank you, Daniel, for that. All right, let me finish my thought and we'll introduce Russ Laggan. That means statistically 45 agents, and they're in our organization there. I'm looking at you guys. You have agents who want to build revenue share, who have no idea what to do next, don't know how to do a lunch and learn, who don't know what a 3-way call means, who doesn't know what the wealth chart means, who doesn't understand about the boost, the accelerate, and these other programs that Russ Laggan is going to be talking about. And so that will basically slow us down in growth. Okay? Those are real statistics, guys. So Marissa and I have a lot of work to do ourselves to continue to build the thing for all of us. All right, Marissa, why don't you, I always introduce Russ. This time around, Marissa, you introduce Russ Laggan, please.
Hey, Tom. I'm sorry, Tom.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Hey, Mark Marcy here. How are you?
Mark? Yeah.
What was that site again? Could you say it again?
Agentsgetfree.com. It's right on my name there. Tom Truong, agentsgetfree.com.
Yep. Okay, I thought you were. Yeah, I got that. Something else. Okay.
That is the
Sounds
one. And
good.
once you're on board, Mark, I know you're getting on board like as we speak, but once you're on board, the workplace group is called the same, agentsgetfree.com.
Right. Okay,
right, guys.
Sounds good.
Awesome. We've only got 25 minutes left. Marissa, go ahead and introduce our star here, please.
For you guys don't know Russ Laggan, man, are you for a treat. This man, we've been through a lot together, but I don't want to take up more time with an introduction. Russ is one of our corporate regional directors of growth, and he is in that role for a reason, because, man, this guy eats, breathes, sleeps, lives, he grows every day, my friend.
You make me sound like a drug dealer. Like, what's he growing? Kidding. All right, hey guys,
Russ, this is our agent attraction group. All the people here, only this call is all about agent attraction and what do we do to grow revenue share. Before you end your call, if you can just reiterate the boost program, the accelerate program, blah blah blah, and how, and also give us practices on how each of our leaders can take advantage of these programs, along with best practices to reach out to corporate for help, right? I don't think, stress it. I want you to say it to them. Hey, don't get us on the call to show the EXP explain model. I think everyone on here is capable of doing that.
Yes.
Over to you, man.
All right. So a couple things. Very seldom do I actually talk about the stuff you want me to talk about, Tom. He's like,
BS.
Russ, I want you to talk about this. And I'm like, okay, but I got a little different answer to the question. The question is, how do we get and attract more real estate agents? And guys, let me just blow something up here for you real quick. Two things that are important. Number one, there's a couple of things you guys should be doing every single time and every single day and every single week in the course of just normal course of doing business, trading time for money, selling houses. So we'll talk about that real quick. And then the majority of the people in your sphere, in your world organization, they are not going to do what you guys are doing here. So we've got to have parts and pieces and processes and systems in place so the majority of the people will actually do it. What I would love to see is I would love to see the fact that, like, I don't want you to get 20. I want your 20 people to get 2 each. Right. So we got to start thinking of leverage. We got to start thinking of it's not just all on me and I'm doing the build. We got to start doing things ourselves that we can exemplify to agents below us and around us that are things that they're willing to do. So here's the problem, guys. We got a lot of people that are like, well, Russ, what you need to do is you need to get on the phone and dial for dollars for agents. And I'm not saying don't do that. I'm not saying that doesn't work. But what I'm simply saying is if we're telling people to do stuff that they're not going to do, they're not going to do it. So let's come up with a couple things that we know people will do, okay? If we could have attraction be actually accidental, intentionally, unintentionally actually do some recruiting and attraction, that'd be substantially more interesting. So let me show you a couple things that are really important for you guys to have in systems in place, because a lot of times we forget that we forget to do the simple stuff, forget to do the important stuff, we forget to do the highest conversion stuff in lieu of just things that take time. So what I want you to do is I want you to focus on the highest conversion people first. And then if you've got time after that, then you want to start calling random people you don't know. That's when you do that. So here's the thing, guys. We know conversion actually, you guys know conversion from sphere of influence, right? So your sphere of influence, trading time for money, selling houses, you can get your sphere of influence converted about 10% per year for selling houses, okay? That's your sphere of influence. So Tom, I came up with this recipe, and here's what the recipe looks like. Plus people equals plus house sales equals plus dollars equals plus real people that actually refer you business, okay? So here's a referral business recipe. The more people you have, the more houses you sell, the more houses you sell, the more money you make, the more houses you sell, the more money you make, the more people you have that are going to refer you more business. So this becomes a sphere of influence / referral business. Because there's a lot of people trying to go out and get new people all the time that don't know them, like them, and trust them. And these people right here, the people that know you, like you, and trust you are going to be the most likely suspects to be wanting to buy a house with you. So we've got to be doing the things that get people to know, like us, and trust us and build credibility with them to the point where they're saying, you know what, Tom, you're my guy. Marissa, you're my girl. I want you to be my expert to help me navigate this house thing, whether it's a buy or a sell, okay? That's the essence of building a sphere of influence business. Now, a lot of people say, well, Russ, but it takes time. Yes, it does. But calling 400 people that don't want to do business with you takes time also. So what I want you to say is you're more likely to do business in general with people that know you, like you, and trust you than anything else. So here's a real statistic, guys. I just pulled this one recently. It's been on my slides at all the local rallies. 63% of home sellers, 63% of home sellers said they sold their house with somebody that they either knew, liked, or trust, or they were referred to. 63% of home sellers actually did business with somebody that was in their sphere of influence. They were in somebody's sphere of influence, and that's how they got the house sale, okay? So here's the deal. I want you guys to make sure you're seeing what that is and seeing it for what it really is, because now that you know that, does it change some of the things you do? So now I need to start saying, how do I add more people? So how can I add more people to my sphere of influence? And the more people I add, the more sales I can get. If I've got 200 people in my sphere currently, I can get 20 sales out of that. If I have 400 people in my sphere, I can get 40 sales out of that. And let's just say you half-ass it and you screw it up and you completely blow it. You're still at 10%, or you're still at 10 sales on 200 people, 20 sales on 400 people. So you can literally just build a business saying the more people I have, the more closings I can get. So Adrian Petrilla actually asked me to build out that system, training system. And you know what we renamed it Unlimited Closings. Real estate agents, you just add more people, do the conversion, add more people, do the conversion. You can literally make it unlimited, right? Yeah. So that's what's out there for that. Fun part, Tom. I don't know if Adrian told you this or not. He also built a, what does he call it? A clone site with 8 modules that talk about how to do this. He built a clone site for that. And you know what he named that one? Jumpstartmasterclass.com.
I love it.
The system that we taught on how to build a sphere of influence business, that is under jumpstartmasterclass.com. So if you guys want to see 8 modules on how to build a referral business and build a sphere of influence business that converts, it's 8 simple modules. You go in there, guys, there's no sales pitch in there. There's no, you can't buy anything even if you wanted to. So when you go in there, it's not about sales pitches. It's just about having this training system and thought process in place so people can do the simple things over and over and over. Now, here's the thing, Tom. Here's the shift, right? In the process of doing this equation here for most people, and guys, most of the people in your revenue share organizations, they need to sell more effing houses, period, right? They need to sell more houses. They need to be making more $10,000 checks. They need to become an FLQA. Why don't you show them a simple they can do FLQA, guys? Hit jumpstartmasterclass.com, go in there, register. You got to register so we know who you are and so forth. And that's got the parts and pieces in there to help them do more house sales. If they're doing more house sales, they're making more money and they're getting more referral business, then guess what, guys? Here's the fun byproduct of that. The byproduct of that is you got this cute little stick figure over here. And you know what the stick figure over here is? This is a realtor. Okay. On every house sale we've got, almost every house sale we've got another person on that transaction that's a real estate agent. So if you have 30 sales in a year, you've got 30 real estate agents probably, or 28 real estate agents on the other sides of the transactions. Now, if you go back 2 and 3 and 4, yeah, Adrian's tier 1. So you go back 2 and 3 and 4 years in sales. So it's like I had this conversation with Kurt Shewell, Tom. I was like, how many sales did you guys do in the last year? He's like, about 1,000. How many the year before? About 900. How many the year before? About 700. Okay, great. So in just in the last 3 years, you got what, 3,000? 4 years, you got like 3,000 or so transactions. How many of those transactions had another agent on the other side of that transaction?
Yeah.
Almost all of them, right?
Yep.
So that means, let's just say 90% of them had an agent that wasn't with us on the other side. That means you've got some 2,700 agents that you've added value to in the process of selling houses. And those people are your sphere of influence for real estate agents. So we need to start saying, how do I get in front of more real estate agents? These people already know you and like you. And if you did a good job, they know you, like you, and trust you as a real estate agent. So guys, first things first is we need to start thinking intentionally about building a sphere of influence of agents, right? So you've got your sphere of influence for house sales, and you've got your sphere of influence of agents. So how many of you have a list of all the agents that can say, yeah, I've done business with them or I know them? Listen, Marissa, I love you, but if I don't know you, I will never marry you. And the fact is, Tom's got you already. But it's that simple, Tom. If I didn't know you, you'll never work with me. We have to know them first. They have to know us first. So we break it down and we start trying to do business with people that don't know us, and it makes it really challenging sometimes. So I'm not saying don't do the other stuff. I'm simply saying make sure you're doing this stuff first, because you're most likely suspects of the people that already know you. It's the same with house sales. It's the same with attraction. So the same exact recipe works with attraction. So now here's the fun part. All of the things that I do to sell more houses, including doing a real estate market update, having a full managed contractor list, and also doing social media correctly, which is promoting other people's business, not promoting myself. It's not look at me, look how great we are. It's here's something for you. And let me show you how great Tom is. You guys see this guy, Tom. He did a great job. He's my favorite plumber in the world, right? Tom just got downgrade. Okay, so doing things like that actually bring people to you, and now you become a resource. All of those resources, I want to send every one of those resources to every realtor I know also. Because by the way, guys, I don't know if you talk to most other realtors, they have no idea what's really going on in the market most of the time. You might say, well, Russ, are you sure this works? Tom, real number, 543. You know what that number is?
No.
543 agents over a span of about 2 years in Tampa. I started implementing this plan. And every time I bumped into an agent, I said, hey, by the way, do you have a good real estate market update? How's your business going? What are you seeing going on in the market? And they're like, blah, 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 blah. I say, hey, I do a month that tells you what's going on in the market. You want me to send it to you? 543 of them said yes, Tom.
Yeah.
543, right? So then when I stopped doing the market update in Tampa, I got guys calling me going like, hey, dude, did I piss you off or something? Where's your market update? I'm like, I live in Michigan. I'm not doing Tampa market update the rest of my life just so you can know what's going on. You become a resource to the real estate agents that you touch consistently. And you're going to find that when something happens with their business, they call you first. So here's the thing, Tom. When do eagles move? Everybody's like, Tom, Russ, I want to hire a bunch of eagles. I'm like, yeah, no, doesn't work that. Like, when do make an eagle move? Let's describe an eagle. Okay, eagles on a tree. Oh,
They cut down the tree.
yeah. So
you
so
cut down the tree. That's right.
some of the attraction, by the way, some of the attraction people are like, yeah, dude, you want to make an eagle move? Cut his tree down, light his forest on fire. Yeah, it's a great way to get scratched by an eagle. That's a great way to get your ass kicked by an eagle, right? If they catch you cutting a tree down, you got a problem. Okay. But the eagle doesn't need you, right? They jump off the branch, they're hungry, they fly down to the lake, a fish, come up on the branch, eat it like a cob of corn, spit all the bones all over the other birds in the tree, and they're like, hey, I'm feeling full. What do I got to do? I need some exercise. And they go beat the crap out of all the other birds in the area, make sure everybody knows this is my spot, right? The only time an eagle is going to move from that nest is if a hurricane blows the tree down, somebody cuts the tree down, or the forest lights on fire. Unless one of those 2 or 3 things happen, their perch and nest is damaged, they're going anywhere. So can you see how in this market right now, we've got real estate agents that are having their businesses shut down? Yeah. Brokerages are shutting down. Teams are making moves. People are cutting back and spending less money. They're changing comp plans. There's a bunch of things that are going on in brokerages and with teams that make some of these eagles start looking around going, man, that wind, I see that fire coming. There's a fire coming, taking this forest out. Maybe I need to start getting my eyes open out there. The thing is, guys, is they're going to go and look for the person that has the credibility with them first. So the first thing we got to start doing is instead of trying to get something from them, we want to make sure we give something to them. We become a resource for them, then they're going to be more likely to call us when their tree's on fire. Don't light their trees on fire. They will call you when their tree catches fire if you're not the one that lit the fire. Okay, so we got to start shifting the way we look at adding value to agents. And there's a ton of things we can add value to agents over time. By the way, probably one of the best ways to connect with local real estate agents in your market, Tom, is building that stupid contractor list to sell more houses. And here's the reason why. I go on social media. I'm like, hey, man, our water heater blew up on Sunday night. It did, right? Does anybody know a good plumber? That would be a perfect post. Does anybody know a good plumber? Our hot water heater just blew up. We need somebody now. Like, there's probably a dozen people will put their preferred contractor person in that post. And by the way, Tom, what happens is a lot of times, particularly when I was in Tampa doing this, the realtors would give me their preferred guy. So I'm like, Tom Truong, man, hey, realtor dude, thanks for that. I really appreciate that. So I say, thank you there. Then I go in a private messenger and I say, hey, man, thanks very much for sending me that plumber. By the way, I have a whole list of contractors. If you ever need one, don't hesitate to send it to me. Oh yeah, and by the way, I do a market update every month that tells you what's going on in the market. So I'll send that over to you. If you do one, make sure you send me yours. So they start seeing me as an expert in the industry and an expert in the market. And I'm just talking about basic stuff to sell houses. But do they need to see that also? Yeah, 95+% of agents need to see that stuff. And you're their resource for that. So now you become invaluable. Okay. So there's the basis of thinking process. And you can get the agent under you to say, hey, in the process of doing this, make sure you get every realtor, make sure you set every realtor that you touch in the course of doing business. You want to adding them to your sphere of influence, and you want to send them your stuff. You send them your market update, and you make sure you collaborate with them on the contractor list. And now you're starting to build relationships with other realtors.
So Russ, I got a question for you. So you've been teaching this, and I love it.
Yes.
What are the success rates? Have you heard anyone who says, hey, Russ, I follow your system and man, it's working. I'm recruiting agents as a result to my tier 1.
Yes, absolutely. 100% consistently happening. So, it varies depending on the agent, depending on the size of their sphere and how intentional they're doing it. But yes, it absolutely does convert. What you'll find is that people are coming to you. You're not chasing them. What you'll also find is this takes time. Building a relationship takes time like this. So what you've got to start doing is got to start building that credibility. Fine. Not everybody's tree is going to light on fire every year. By the way, the average tenure for a real estate agent is 6 years in a brokerage. They move about every 6 years. Okay. So if that's the case, you're going to have to stay in contact with most of these people over the span of the next 6 years. They could move at any time in the next 6 years. It could be next month, could be next year, could be 4 years, could be 6 years. So what I want to do is I want to have systems in place that consistently touch people and add value over time instead of just trying to wing it all the time. We see agents trying to win all the time and not working their sphere intentionally, and they're not getting a 10% conversion on your sphere. They're getting less than a 1% conversion on their sphere because they don't have a system in place working people over time. Real estate agents are no different than people. Real estate agents are people too. So we've got
just 8 minutes left.
Yes.
8 minutes. So
with that said, okay, we've got a couple programs to be able to make sure that we have the ability to let people know when there's a fire, because we don't always know when they have a fire, but we've got a couple of programs that are able to say, hey guys, if you are in a position where you need to shift something, we have a program called Boost. Boost is for brokerages. If you have 50 plus agents and $100 million in sales, they qualify for the Boost program. Guys, if they have 40 agents and 80 million in sales, I still want to talk to them. If they have 20 agents and 25 million in real estate sales, I still want to talk to them. All these things these are things to get the conversation started. And by the way, you're not getting the conversation started like this. Hey, you ever thought about moving your brokerage to EXP? No, right? Hey, so here's the conversation with brokerages. And Tom, I don't know if I've ever sent this to you.
So when we talk to them, what are we talking to them about? What incentives are we dishing out here for people with doing that sales volume? The majority of the people on this call already know Boost, but what they don't know are the success stories and what you can share. How much money do these people get? Well,
so it varies.
To join.
It varies depending on the brokerage.
Right. So give us examples of what Glenn's already talked about on stage, shared on stage. Yeah.
Let's go backwards and actually say, how do we get conversation with these people? Right.
Okay.
Getting into a conversation with them is way better, because I don't want you guys talking numbers with them. I don't want you to go out and go, hey guys, we're giving $1 million. If you're only attracting people because you're giving away shit, guess what you get? You get junk, right? So we got to get quality. So why would a person move a brokerage? Why would a person move a large team? Okay. There's three things, right? They want to get out. Number one is they want to get out of that business. They don't want to do that business anymore. They're done, lighted on fire. Just get me out, right? I'm looking for an exit. Number two is they're looking to level up their business. And then number three reason they want to do something or would be willing to do something is because they need to shift their business. Okay. So you've got to start figuring out which one this is, right? Tom, you've owned a brokerage. I've owned a brokerage, right? What were we trying to do? I didn't want to get out. I wanted to level up my business, and I wanted to not be doing all the back end of the business. So I was a level up and a shift when I sold my brokerage. What were you, Tom? You were level up and shift also. By the way, somebody lit Tom's tree on fire. The franchise said, we're not following up and we're not backing up the franchise anymore. In 6 months, franchise is ending. You're going to have to go out and do your own thing. And Tom goes out in the market and says, okay, well, I'm not done. I don't want out. I need to level up my business and I want to make a shift in what I'm doing. Okay. So let me describe these to you. Out is, I'm no longer wanting to do this. I'm done. Okay. Those people are not a good candidate for Boost, because Boost is they bring them over and then they help with the transition, and their Boost is actually paid at the 12-month mark. It's the majority of it's paid after the 12-month mark, because what we don't want to do is you don't want to actually give somebody an incentive and then they come over and all the agents go off into the wild blue yonder and you just paid them a bunch of money and you got nothing left. That's a normal acquisition. Yeah. So in order to not do that, they have to be willing to be engaged. So if you say somebody's saying, hey, I'm out, they're not a good candidate. Team also not a good candidate. But
by the way, Russ, I got to stick this in there because I got leaders who might know somebody who wants out. They're not a good candidate for Boost. I want to talk to them because I will buy their business.
Yes. So not a good candidate for Boost, but give them an exit. But we're not doing that for them, right? Are there other options out there?
I will buy their business. Yep.
There you go. So the ones we're really looking for is people that want to level up their business or people want to shift their business. So here's the thought process that goes behind it. And you kind of got to get to the psyche behind it. Otherwise, they're never going to talk to you. It's like, did you get you got your business to a certain level and you feel like you're kind of stuck? And in order for you to really double your business and double your crew and double your people, you're going to have to do something different. If you'd like to talk about what that would look like to level up your business, let's talk. Do you see how that has a flavor and a feel behind it? That gets to the core of what they're doing. You'll have people say, you know what? Yeah, I've been at 30 or so agents for the last year or 2 or 3. I really need to be at 100, but I just haven't been able to get there. And the reason a lot of them can't get there is by the time they get to 20, 30, 40 agents, they don't have time to do the attraction and the recruiting. They're spending all their time on the back end of the business. So the bigger their office grows, the less they're getting to do the things they want, which is where this shift conversation comes in. If you got into brokerage, you built a brokerage, it's not what you thought it was, and you want to get back to doing what you love, we can show you how to do that. And that's what this Boost program helps you do. You can keep your team together and get you back to doing the things that you love. Do you see how that has a completely different flavor and a completely different feel when you start talking about what the feeling and the thought process is behind? It's like, we have to find out why they want to move. So when you put one of the growth team, particularly me, guys, if you get a brokerage and you want me to talk to them, I will personally talk to them and I'll say, where are you at now? Where do you want to be? And the process of asking those 2 questions, I'm going to find out What are they trying to, are they just trying to get out? Great. I'm gonna let you talk to Tom. If you want to level up your business or shift your business because the world changed and you need to shift and get back to doing what you love, I can show you how to do that by aligning with us. So you still keep your people, you can still love them, teach them, train them, grow them, do all the stuff that you love to do, the stuff that you got into brokerage for, and we'll handle a lot of the back end operation stuff. So you can go back to being you. And a lot of times they'll be like, oh my God, Russ, that's exactly what I want. That's exactly what I need. Guys, if there's not a need we can fulfill, they're not going anywhere. You can't create a need where there's not a need. You can create BS, you can run around the circles, but you really got to get to the feel that they want. If you thought, hey, instead of you thinking, Tom, so here's the deal. Your goal was to get your brokerage to 50. What I want you to start thinking is, what about thinking about 500 or 5,000?
Yeah.
Somebody wants to level up their business. When you talk to them like that, their brain goes, wait a minute, how do I do 500? Over here, you can do 500 because you can build an organization. That organization continues to build out and grow. And then that thing can be 5,000. So how would you like to be that? You could be the Pied Piper of 5,000 versus struggling to be at 50.
So as an example, folks, Michael Bean, the Bean Group,
Yes.
the largest recipient so far of the Boost program right here in New England, came over. He was at a regional rally, and then he and I, and a lot of us had time one-on-one with him after the regional rally, and then it was my home the next Saturday.
Yeah.
And he went over exactly for what Russ just said, to level up and to shift. Michael came over. So far, he had 800 agents.
Yeah.
So far, I believe 400 plus have made the shift.
Yep.
Some are still debating whether they're going to make the shift or not.
Yep.
And Mike understands he's not going to grab everybody, which is totally fine. His goal, Russ and everybody else, is to be at 10,000 agents, and he could never get there on his own.
Never.
Is that to get 10,000 agents in less than 5 years, because he's been doing it for 2 decades.
Yes.
This is his chance. Back to you, man.
So guys, so here's the thing. The conversation you need to have is get them to the point where they understand what EXP is. And then you get them to the point where, like, if I could put you on a call in a Zoom with a guy that can help you sort out what the best move is for you and ask you where you're at now, where do you want to be? And then he's going to show you a couple of ideas to get there. If you're a good fit, he'll pull you. If you're not a good fit, he'll tell you you're not a good fit. So the key is, if I could get you in a conversation with one of our senior executives to help you talk through what the best fit for you is, would you be open to that conversation? Make sure they see an EXP explained, because I don't want them to have to explain to them what revenue share is. Make sure they get some good base so before we do that, let me show you some basics so you can have a good understanding of where we're at. And then when you talk to Russ or you talk to our growth person, they're going to be able to say what works best for you and craft something that make sense. Are there we have some incentives to be able to make it less painful for people to move, and they'll be able to help sort that out with you. What are those incentives? Oh, sounds like you're interested. Would you like me to set up a call where you can get into the details so they can walk through and show you exactly what those incentives would look like for you? Yes? Good. So you're redirecting them back to get a meeting with us, guys. The more information you tell them, the more likelihood there is going to be a confusion, or it's not what you thought it was and you're guessing and you're winging it. Put it in the hands of the people that actually know how to make that move and move that conversation. Because if they don't hit the classic metrics, we can go backwards and pull things back apart and put them back together a different way. Sometimes not doing Boost can actually do better for them. And again, this is not buying brokerages. This is having an incentive to make it less painful for them to move. Thrive program's the same thing. That's for teams. That's teams of 10 agents plus, $40 million in production. If you got a team that wants to have that conversation, we can do the same type of conversation with them, because typically, guys, they're in one of these 3 spots also. And if we can figure out which one that is, then we can sell them what they're willing to buy. And a lot of times they'll say yes. Good. I know you got time.
No, we got time, man. We got time. I want to be respectful for so guys, if you got to jump, you got to jump. Russ, if you got time,
I got to jump.
Stay on and
I got to jump.
Yeah.
I've got 4 hours back straight here. That's why I'm running, sliding feet first in with my butt on fire, and I've got to be on a noon right now, and I got to be on a 1. So I got to go.
You got to go. Russ, I appreciate you, man. Love you, man. Keep crushing it.
Have me back soon, and you guys can pick at me all you want. I'll answer any questions you got. Okay.
Thanks, Russ.
Thanks, man.
See you guys.
Thank you. All right, folks. Questions, a Boost, about Accelerate, about Thrive. Russ had to jump, but go ahead.
Tom, Thrive. I understand 10 engines, 40 million in production. Obviously, it could be baby Thrive or whatever. But the point is, what in Thrive? Let's say they hit those markers. What's different between Thrive and Boost in regard to the revenue or the way it's the way it's calculated and the way it's paid out.
Pretty much all the same formula, folks. Basically, it's small, medium, large. Small is thrive, medium is accelerate, boost is large, extra large. The calculation is the same. All we're trying to do is bring teams in. Some teams are bigger than independent brokerages, right? Some teams might be even be bigger than that 100 million in sales for boost. And so it's all the same. We will look at the company dollar that we take in. Currently, the company dollar is about 10%, right? The split is 80-20. Of that 20%, half of it is paid out to revenue share every month. The other half, 10%, goes to pay for company expenses. What we will do is give them or allocate that 10% that goes towards company dollar back the team leader, the independent franchise owner, the whomever that's part of the Boost, Accelerate, and Thrive program. And we're going to give them the final payment after 12 months, assuming they started with 50 agents, they ended with 50 agents. That first 12 months, that 10%, that check goes to them. Now, none of us have the authority to say that. I don't have the authority to say that. I know this call is being recorded. Full disclaimer, I have zero authority to give that. That's why you need a corporate executive to make that decision. And they have to make that decision based upon, are you a cultural fit? Meaning, do you want to level up? And do you want to grow and shift your business to something better? If it's that first one you want out, and we even smell that you want out, you get no money because we don't want to own their problems. Okay, Ken, you have a question? Yep.
No, it's not a question. It's not a question. It's an affirmation of what Russ just said. So Rick, who's on the two, Rick, myself, and Jeff Disher, we have an ongoing program that is actually following what Russ just described as exact. Because that's how we do our business anyway. So we're bringing people in. Rick created, so I don't know if it's by chance or maybe you were inspired by Pat and Agents Helping Agents, because we have that here in San Diego. We've been doing it for a year. And so, so he created a Facebook group, and then we've been doing classes, those classes across the board to every agency, meaning Keller Williams. This last one had people from Keller Williams, Smart, different companies, and it's a non-sell to EXP. It's 100%. It's 100%. We're going to train you on what's going on and whatever. The class is full of our team members who are also getting training, and the communication happens organically. And so, like even with Jeff Disher, the way I got him and his team over to us is I had him teach another class with me. And one of the things that I put on the powerhouse, the power influencer line was who knows Home Smart. And so I've been learning a lot about that. So I just got that Home Smart team leader to agree to do a class with me and us in January or February. And he has 14 people on his team. And so it's a longer look, but I think it's going to be important. And one other thing people know, if you have a team, there's a lot of EXP orphan agents that we've been bringing onto our team. So right now I have like 42 people on my production team. So there's at least 15 or 14 of them were already EXP agents that are just floundering. But that volume of people that are coming in, and I'll put this ad that I'm putting out onto the power influencer thing. I'll put this ad into it, but you can look for yourself and see whether or not creates a momentum for people to want to join, because that's the then looking for that'll join my own revenue share prospect. So looking for momentum, and it goes back to what Marissa was talking about. I realize sometimes it's easier to just keep hammering. But if you go at the people the unit of time, the sale and the pitch is much stronger, in my opinion. So a little slower, but I think in the long run, my goal is also 10,000 with Beam. I totally see it. It might seem ridiculous right now if you're looking at 30, but I totally see the vision of certainly cresting 5, and getting up to 10. So it's just how you're looking at it.
Thank you for sharing that. Love it. All right, guys. So this is the end of our formal Power Hour call. Next week, same time, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central, and 8 a.m. Pacific. Next week is the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, but we're doing it. Okay. Special VIP guest, Leo Pereira, is going to be on. Leo Pereira. If you don't know who he is, he's basically the number 3 here at EXP now, maybe number 4, depending on what's your priority, right? It's Glenn Sanford, and then his 2 right-hand growth people are Michael Valdez, Leo Pereira. He'll be on here to spend some time with us to continue to talk about agent attraction, agent growth, recruiting, retention. Wait until you hear from him about what we're doing to help us all grow and build revenue share and help our agents produce more business.
Yeah, if you guys have
Okay?
never heard Leo before, his title is Chief Strategy Officer. So everything that has to do with the way how agile we are is what is in his wheelhouse. So he owns that responsibility at EXP. So definitely think ahead. We're going to have time for Q&A with him. He'll give you an idea of what he sees as the direction of the company, where it's going. We're really honored. Like, it took us a while to get this guy on his calendar. So please don't miss this one next week.
Okay. I've just, whoever this, Marissa, Sam, can you mute whoever that is? I've just shared my screen. Can you guys see my screen? This is Agents Get Free, the workplace group. Yes, thumbs up if you can see it. Thank you. Okay. So tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, I am doing the last of this call. What more can I do to retain and grow my team? We've been running it for 3 straight weeks. Tonight is the last one. If you've got questions about exactly this, what more can I do to retain and grow my team? Show up. The purpose is retention and growth. Bring your questions. I'm just here to answer your questions. We've done this for three weeks already. All right. We have events after events after events. Okay. So make sure that you follow the Agents Get Free group and you see all of these events that's happening here. In addition to everything that EXP Realty and EXP Commercial is doing. We're going to, guys, we're going to take, if you want to stay on, go for it. I've got a bunch of people who just jumped on. This is the next session. Sorry, guys, hang tight. I know 11 minutes late. This next session is about teaching our agents how to recruit commercial agents. Scott Stein asked me to stay on this, to help him. He's sponsored by Judy Sahajian, who's sponsored by Dick Lee. Since they asked me to teach them how to recruit commercial agents, this is what this call is about. Everyone else who's not interested, we'll see you next week. Get out of here. Okay?